Hello, I'm attorney Paul Whalen from Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. Our fees are all based on your income, which means the less you make, the less you pay for our services. Today, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about temporary orders in a Massachusetts divorce. Let's say that your divorce is filed. Either you filed it or your spouse filed it. It's in the courts. It's going to take a long time before that's final. In the meantime, what's going to happen with your children? Where do they live? Who makes the decisions for the children? Is there any child support? Who pays that child support and in how much? Who gets use of the marital home? These are just some of the issues that are going to be have to be addressed while your divorce is pending and making its way through the court system. That's where temporary orders come in. Temporary orders are orders from the court which are temporary in nature, just as the name would imply. So they would be in place until such time as the judge makes a different order. They could be modified just like any other order, and ultimately a final order or judgment will be entered in your divorce, which will spell out the obligations of each of the parties in a more permanent setting. But it's very important that the issues that you need to have settled are settled by a court while this whole process is going forward. Very few people are able to support themselves and a household on their own, especially if they were in a relationship with somebody. If the two people were sharing the expenses of the home and so forth, and one of them moves out as a result of the divorce, that one person left there is left to pay all the bills, to keep up the house, take care of the children. Maybe if that's the case, if there are children, it could be an issue of who has custody, both physical and legal custody. Where are the children going to stay? How often will they visit, or what kind of parenting time will the non-custodial parent be, even though there's not really a custodial parent at this point? But it's essentially addressing all the issues that have to be addressed in the final order as well. There could be spousal support that's needed for one of the spouses. If the other spouse is earning a great deal more money, they may be required to pay spousal support in order to help maintain that person in the lifestyle to which they've grown accustomed, at least in a temporary basis. So what happens is one of the parties will file with the court a motion for temporary orders. They will lay out exactly what they're looking for, who gets the children and so forth, and if there's any sort of financial arrangement that's going to be made. They serve that on the other party. The other party can answer that, and a hearing will happen before a judge. And each party goes before the judge at the hearing, basically making the case as to why they're asking for what they're asking for. So the moving party, that is the party that filed the motion, will go before the judge first and say, Judge, here's the situation. I'm looking for this, this, and this. I want, use of the marital home. The kid should stay with me. I want X amount in child support, and X amount in spousal support, and any other issues that may need to be addressed. And the other party, which would be the non-moving party, comes forward and says, Judge, that's not fair. I should have the house, or the kid should be with me, or the child support's too much, or whatever it might be. And the judge ultimately makes a decision as to what is equitable in his or her opinion. And that order will be in place for the remainder of the divorce process, that is, before a final order is issued. As I mentioned before, that order, like any order in a divorce, can be modified by either of the parties, with the approval of the judge, of course. They can ask to have the court modify that order. In order to modify an order, temporary order, the moving party has to show that there's been a material change in circumstances, and that the change in circumstances, if it involves children, is in the best interest of the child. But before the court will even entertain modifying a temporary order, you must prove to the judge that there's been a substantial and material change in circumstances, not just a minor change, but it has to be something of a pretty significant nature. So those are temporary orders. They're very important. Sometimes couples will try to work things out between themselves, which is a great idea. But as far as the arrangements with the children and the house and the money, but it's really a very good idea to get that in writing and get that approved by a judge. Some people say, no, we can work it out between ourselves. We don't need the court intervening at this point. To tell you the truth, that's very rare. Even people who believe that, oftentimes run into trouble because so and so is not following the order as I interpreted it, or whatever it might be. So an order is it's in black and white. Each party knows what they can do and what they can't do, and what's expected of them. It's like a contract in any other fashion. A contract is good for solving problems once they happen, but a good contract prevents problems from cropping up. So each party knows what they have to do. It's there, and there's less room for interpretation, therefore less misinterpretation by either of the parties. So temporary order is very important because it will be in place for the remainder of the divorce proceeding, and that could be quite some time, depending on how complicated your divorce is, how obstinate the other party is. If the person's not cooperating, they can drag it out for even longer, and those orders will be in place. So you want to make sure that you are prepared for the hearing on the temporary orders, because that's going to be a very important part of your life for the foreseeable future. As I say, at Afford Law, we do practice family law and criminal law in Massachusetts. Our fees are on a sliding scale based on your income. So the less you make, the less you pay. We're trying to make ourselves as affordable as possible for the hardworking people of Massachusetts. Feel free to visit us at affordlaw.org. Please feel free to book a free virtual appointment with me. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have about any family law or criminal law questions in Massachusetts. Because at Afford Law, we're making justice affordable. Thank you.